We continue now at the top of Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph in Meseches Pesachim. This is Pesachim Daf 21a. The Gemara here is in the middle of a brisa. The brisa is a discussion about a chavis shel truma. You have a barrel of truma of wine that becomes tameh, and so the question is, do you have to just pour it all out, or can you do ziluf? Beis Shammai says you should pour it all out. Beis Hillel says you can do ziluf. You could sprinkle it around for the nice fragrance. And then we have Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi, which appears to be a middle position. He's in a later generation. And his middle position is, it depends. If you're out in the field and you have to take it all the way back to the house to do ziluf, that's already a problem. So in that case, you should dump it all out. But if you're already in the house, then you can do ziluf. So they responded. The generation of Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi responded, Ein hachras shalishis machras. This third kind of opinion is not really a compromise. It's not considered a compromise position. And Rashi over here explains, Ein hachras shalishis machras. Das shalishis hizu. This is just a third opinion. This is not a compromise middle position. It's just a third opinion. Why? Beis Shammai or Beis Hillel lo hizkiru legalos daitam denahave chayshinon letakola klal. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel don't mention anything about takola, about the fact that if you do it in this way, you're gonna have some kind of an obstacle or some kind of a stumbling block. They never mention stumbling block. Di'iyava amri hachi. If they would have said as follows. Beis Shammai omrim bein bebayis bein besada. That Beis Shammai say it doesn't matter in the house, doesn't matter in the field. You have to be strict. Chevel tishafech, you have to pour it all out. Beis Hillel omrim bein bebayis bein besada te'asa ziluf. And Beis Hillel would say doesn't matter the house, doesn't matter the field. You can do the sprinkling. V'ata bala hachriya. Now you want to be in a middle position. V'lomar bebayis kebeis Hillel besada kebeis Shammai, and say that if you're in the house, you could be lenient like Beis Hillel, but if you're in the field, you should be strict like Beis Shammai. Have hachra. That's like a compromised middle kind of position. Aval hashta de lo hiskiru bayis v'sadeh. But the fact that they don't even mention bayis v'sadeh, time achrinu, they have a totally different reason. V'lav mishum takola, nothing to do with the fact that it's going to be a stumbling block. Rabbi Yishmael chayish letakola. Rabbi Yishmael's a third opinion, and he is concerned about a stumbling block. V'hainu tanoi, and that in fact is the machlokas tanoim, whether or not we're concerned for a stumbling block or not. And the Gemara continues. Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina says, Machlokes, the whole Machlokes, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Now again, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua, we're talking about when you have a wine press and some of the wine, which is truma on top, is now flowing down to the chulin on the bottom. They had a Machlokes whether you're allowed to actively be matame the truma in order to save it from going down to the chulin. Can you get kalim to meim? Or no, you're not allowed to actively make it tameh. You have to save it either with kalim that are tor, or you have to indirectly let it become tameh by flowing down. So now Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina says, Machlokas shenafla lepachos mimeya sa chulin tamein. The whole machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua is only if it falls into less than 100 sa of chulin tamein, meaning less than 100 times the amount of the truma. If the chulin is not 100 times or more than the truma, that's when there's a machlokas. Aval nafla lemeya chulin tamein. But if this truma would fall into 100 times the amount of chulin tamein, divrei hakol teirid v'titma. Everybody agrees, let it go down and let it become tamei. V'al yatamena biyad, and don't actively make it tamei. Let it become tamei indirectly by flowing into the chulin. Don't actively make it tamei, and the reason is because in that case there really is no loss of money in the chulin because it's basically batel. When you have 1/100th of truma inside chulin, you have bittul. Tanya nami hachi. The Gemara says we have a brisa like this as well. Chavis shenishbara begasu elyona. Let's say you have a barrel that breaks in the upper part of the wine press. V'tachteha meya chulin tamein, and below is 100 of chulin tamein. Moda Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer admits to Rabbi Yoshua shem yachol lahatzil mimenu revius betara yatzil, that if you can save a revius of wine purely, then you should do that. V'imla, but if you can't save a revius, teired v'sitma, then it should flow down and become tamei. V'al yitamena biyad. You should not make it tamei actively. Rashi over here says, Machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. The Machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua is shenaflo lepachos mimeya chulin tamein sheyesh begas hatachtona pachos mimeya chulin tamein. It's got again less than 100 times the amount. Ain't truma betelim, and there's no bittul. Upasti lagamri. So if the truma flows into the chulin, you have a total loss of money. The truma tzarech echad u'mei levatla. By truma, the rule is you need 1/100th to be nullified, to be batel. Aval hayu b'tachtona mea chulin mea chevios kimozu shel truma. If there are 100 barrels of chulin compared to this 1 barrel of truma, everybody agrees you shouldn't make a tummy actively, because the chulin's not going to be lost anyway, because you can do bittul, and you'll be able to use it like you were originally able to use it. It's not going to be any loss. It can be fit even for a zar. And now the Gemara goes on to point out what seems to be a mistake in both this brisa over here, where you have 100 times the amount, and in the brisa earlier, where instead of wine flowing down, it was oil. So both of these brisa said, Moda Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer admits to Rabbi Yoshua that al yitamena biyad, that if it's not a revius, in this case, you shouldn't actively make a tummy because it's not really a loss of money. The problem is it really shouldn't be Moda Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua. It should be Moda Rabbi Yoshua Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yoshua is the guy that generally says you could be actively metame if you're saving the loss of money of the chulin. And in these cases where there's no real loss of money because it's 100 times the amount, or because we're dealing with oil, which really wasn't a loss of money, so that's where Rabbi Yoshua admits that you shouldn't actively be metame because you let it flow down. It's not going to be a loss of money anyway. So that's what the Gemara asks. Hi, Moda Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua. It says in these brises that Rabbi Eliezer admits to Rabbi Yoshua. Moda Rabbi Yoshua Rabbi Eliezer mi boile. It should be Rabbi Yoshua admits to Rabbi Eliezer that in these cases, unlike in the previous case, in these cases you should not actively be metame because there is no real loss of money. And Rashi over here explains, Moda Rabbi Eliezer kasaka daitacha maskona koi. Right now we think the moda is going on the end of the phrase. Im lav, in the situation where you don't have a revius, and again, so in a situation where there's not a revius, so you're not supposed to actively be metame. Da plugsayu bim lavu. That is the machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua is in a situation where you're not able to save a revius of the item. So then the question is, should you be metame actively or not? Ulahachi parach moda Rabbi Yoshua da amar leil yatamena biyad. Rabbi Yoshua before is the guy who said you should actively be metame, and he admits to Rabbi Eliezer, da amar lo yatamena biyad, who says in this case you shouldn't actively be metame to save because you're not really saving anything. There's no loss. Mi boy leila misnei. That's what it should have said. So that's what the Gemara asks over here. It should have said not Rabbi Eliezer admits to Rabbi Yoshua, but Rabbi Yoshua to Rabbi Eliezer. Gemara says, Amar Rava, Rava says, Epoch, you're right, reverse it. It should really be Rabbi Yoshua admits to Rabbi Eliezer. And Rav Huna Breder Rabbi Yoshua has a different answer. Rav Huna Breder Rabbi Yoshua, Amar, Rav Huna Breder Rabbi Yoshua says, Liolam lo sepach. Really, you don't need to reverse it. Hacha b'mayaskin. And here what are we dealing with? Bechli, we're talking about a vessel, shetocho tahar. The inside of the vessel is pure. V'gabo tameh. The outside, the back of the vessel is tameh. Mahu detema, what you have said, Nigzar dil managa gavo betruma. Maybe we should be afraid that truma is going to touch the back of the vessel. Kamash mola, and that's what it means here. Moder Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer is not worried about that, and Rashi here explains. Bechli shetocho tahar v'gabo tameh. V'hai moder lava sefa koi. The admission is not going on the end phrase. Ela areish. It's going on the beginning. These brises say that if you could save a revius with pure vessels, you should do that. So now that's the moder Rabbi Eliezer. Va'afilu kli zeh shubal lahatzil revius besocho tocho tar v'gabo tami. The chiddush, what Rabbi Eliezer is saying is, even if it's a situation where this vessel, which can hold a revius, is tar on the inside but tami on the outside, V'yashmina leila Rabbi Eliezer da'amar al yatamena biyad. And we know that in general Rabbi Eliezer likes to avoid actively making it tameh. Modo, here he admits the mutter lahatzil bazeh. You can save it with this vessel. V'lo chayshinon dil managa gabo betruma. We're not afraid that the back of the vessel will touch the truma. U'metameh lo biyadayim, and you're going to end up actively making it tameh. Uvichli. Now, how do you have a kli that the inside is pure and the outside is tameh? So Rashi says, "Uvechlisha nitma v'mashkin de tumasin derabanan." The situation here is the kli was tummy through liquids, which is only derabanan tuma. The mashkachas lo kedetanya. That's what we said, and we said this earlier also, as it says in a brisa, "Klisha nitmu achorov b'mashkin." You can have a kli that the back of it is tummy through mashkin, achorov tamei, and then only the back is tummy, because only tuma derabanan. So we're a little lenient. We say only the back is tummy. Tocho, ogno, ozno, yadav tar, and the other parts, the other components of the kli are going to be tar. Hadron aloch or l'arba asr. This is the end of the first paragraph of Meseches Pesachim. If you're enjoying these videos, if you're using these videos, please consider taking a look at the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And please subscribe, and please like and share as well so other people can discover and can find this channel. We're now going to begin the second paragraph of Meseches Pesachim. The Mishnah says, Kol shah shemuter lechol, any time or any hour that you're allowed to eat chametz, machil, lebehema, lechaya, uleofos, you're also allowed to feed it to one's animal, to the wild animals, to the birds. Umocher lenachri, he can sell the chametz to a non-Jew. Umutter bahan also, and it is mutter for him to derive benefit. All these things seem to apparently be the same idea. The idea is that if you're in an hour where you can eat chametz, you can also derive all these different kinds of benefits. Avar zmanu, if the time passes, asur bahan also, then you can no longer have benefit. V'lo yasik bo tano v'kirayim, and he should not use the chametz even to light a fire for his oven or his stove. And again, that also seems a little repetitive. Obviously, if he can't benefit, he can't use it for firewood. The Gemara will discuss that as well. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ein biur chametz el esreifa. The only way to destroy chametz is through burning. The Chachamim say, Af mefarer v'zora l'ruach. He can even crumble it up and throw it into the wind, o matil layam, or throw it into the sea. Gemara says, Kol shah shemuter lechol machil. It says, any hour that a person can eat chametz, he can feed it to his animals. HaKol shah she'eno muter lechol. The implication is, if it's an hour where he's not allowed to eat, eno machil, he can't get benefit either. In other words, there's no such thing as an hour that it's prohibited to eat, but mutter to get benefit. So, Leima Masnisan Delok Rabbi Yehuda. It seems, let us say that the Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda says there is such an hour where it's prohibited to eat, but you can derive benefit. To eat Rabbi Yehuda, because if it was Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'iga Chamesh, what about the fifth hour? To Eino Ochel, he's not allowed to eat Chametz, Umachel, and he can feed the Chametz to his animals. The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Meir says, Ochlin Kol Chamesh, a person can eat the entire fifth hour, V'sarfin B'tchilas Sheish, he begins to burn the Chametz in the beginning of the sixth hour. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ochlin Kol Arba, he can eat the whole fourth hour, B'tolin Kol Chamesh in the fifth hour, that's exactly the hour we're looking at in Rabbi Yehuda, he cannot eat, but he's allowed to derive benefit, V'sarfin B'tchilas Sheish, and he burns it in the beginning of the sixth hour. So the Gemara says, V'elamai. Okay, fine. So it's not Rabbi Yehuda. So who is it? Rabbi Meir here. You're going to say that the author of our Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. Hai kol shah shemuter lechol machil. But then the Mishnah shouldn't say any hour that it's mutter to eat, he can feed to his animal. It should say kol shah she'ochel machil. Any hour that he himself is eating. The word mutter implies we're talking about someone else is permitted to eat. But if we're talking about the person himself can eat, say any hour that he's eating, he can feed. Mi boile. That's really what the Mishnah should say if it is Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir does not fit very well with the text of the Mishnah either. So the Gemara says, Amar Rava Barula says, Masnisin Rabban Gamliel he. Our Mishnah is actually Rabban Gamliel. That's not because we learned in the Mishnah, Rabban Gamliel says, Chulin nechol and kol arba. Chulin can be eaten the whole fourth hour if it's chametz. Truma kol chamesh. Now truma can be eaten the fifth hour only by kohanim. That's mutter lechol. As long as kohanim are allowed to eat, then you can also feed it to your animals. That makes more sense with the word mutter. V'sarfin b'tchilas sheish. He burns it in the beginning of the sixth hour. V'hachi kamar. Here's how you read the Mishnah. Kol shah shem mutter lechol kohen b'truma. Any hour that it's permitted for a kohen to eat truma, Yisrael machil chulin lebehema. Yisrael is allowed to feed chulin to a domesticated animal, l'chaya to a wild animal, uliofos, and to birds. Gemara says, Lamali lemisna behema, Lamali lemisna chaya. What do you need to have? A domesticated animal, behema, and chaya, wild animal. Why do you need to teach both of them? So the Gemara answers, tzricha, both cases are needed in the Mishnah. The tana behema, because if the Mishnah only said you're allowed to feed it to a behema, the meshayra chazila, that's because a behema, when a behema leaves over the food, he leaves it out in the open, the person's going to see it, the person's going to destroy it. Aval chayaba, when it comes to wild animal, the meshayra kamitznola, the wild animals actually would hide anything they leave over, so then the person's not even going to be aware of it, emalo, so maybe he shouldn't feed to the wild animals. V'tana chayin, if it only said wild animals, misham di meshayra, mios mitzna, there at least by the wild animals, when they leave it over, they hide it, so at least you're not going to come see it on Pesach, you won't transgress bal yeroah. Aval behema, but when it comes to a domesticated animal, zimnin de meshayra v'lo masechet. Sometimes the domesticated animal will leave over the chametz, the guy won't even realize. V'koya aleh b'bal yeroah b'bal yemotzei, and then he's actually going to end up transgressing bal yeroah b'bal yemotzei. And the Gemara means to say he's not even going to realize to do bittul. The guy's going to forget to do bittul. The animal's going to leave over the food, and then you're going to end up seeing it on Pesach. You'll transgress bal yeroah and bal yemotzei. Eimolo, so I would say that's going to be more of a problem. Tzricha, that's why we need both behema and chaya. Gemara says, Ofos lavali, what do we need birds for? Aidi the tana behema v'chaya, tana nami ofos. Since it says already in the Mishnah, behema and chaya, so we also throw in ofos, we also throw in birds as well. And the Mishnah said, Umochro l'nachri, he can sell it to a non-Jew. Gemara says, Pshita. Isn't that obvious? It's just a kind of benefit. So the Gemara says, La'afuke mehai tana de tanya. The Mishnah means to exclude the following Tana in the Brisa. The Brisa says, Beishamai Omer, Beishamai say, Lo yimchor adam chemtzo l'nachri, a person cannot sell his chametz to a non-Jew, Ela imken yodeya bo sheyichle kodem Pesach, unless he knows that the non-Jew is going to consume all of it before Pesach. And Rashi over here says, Kodem sheyavo haPesach to kasavri mitzvah of levaro min ha'olam v'lo sheyekayim. Beis Shammai hold that we want that it should be destroyed completely before Pesach, because according to Beis Shammai, the mitzvah really is to completely destroy chametz from the world. So you don't even want to give it to a non-Jew unless you know that the non-Jew is going to consume it all before Pesach. Our Mishnah means to exclude that. Beis Hillel say, like our Mishnah, kol shash mutter lechol, any hour that the person can eat, mutter limchor, it's permitted to sell it. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis.